As we get ready to go now for the second heat of DOE Formula V's. There's a little bit of a change up in terms of the championship as well. I got some information sent my way from Theo Vermaak. He's kept us up to standings, and at this point in time, after race 1 I should say, of Phakisa, it's Peter Hills that leads things out on 215 points, 197 points to Lionel Janssen, and 185 to Gert van den Berg. So that's how things stand here for this national championship side of things. And then if I go down to how things are standing in the association class, it's Yusuf Kotza who's taken the lead over Theo Vermaak and Carl Watt as they fight it out now for the association category championship results. Louis Scholz is in the house. He's joining us as well, along with Sven Blackenstrom. Big welcome to you, Big Boss Man from Car Care Clinic. Your boys and girls will be out in a few minutes' time. We've got one more sprint race to go before we get into the full heats of racing here, Louis. But thanks for your support and catching us from the sidelines. Would have been cool to have you here, but I'm not quite sure why you didn't make it here. But needless to say, we will be keeping an eye on you and your progress on making your way back into race action here. Speaking of progress, Paul's iPad is about to go flat, so I'm going to just plug that in as well so we can get a bit of power to the people for the timing. There we go. That should keep us a little bit more hectically powered. Everything here works on power, and when the power goes down, we have chaos. That's why we had a bit of chaos with our signal as well. Derek Kennedy's in the house too. Louis, got to give a shout out as well to your boys at the Alberton branch of Car Care Clinic, but they did an amazing job, and I think you must give Nicholas there a bit of a shout out to say thanks so much for the awesome job they did on my car this week. But let's stand by now as we're going to start my car with DOE Formula V's Race 2. It's pretty hot out here, Sven. We're sitting with about 30 degrees Celsius, big breeze blowing from the western side of the circuit, and Marcel Angel has just joined us as well, all the way from Cape Town. Hope you're enjoying all the action so far, Marcel. Thanks so much for your support, buddy. Look forward to seeing you next weekend at the National Championships of Extreme Festival. This is Regional Championships. We're at Phakisa Freeway, and it's Formula V into turn 1. Whole shot once again from Peter Hills. Lionel Janssen looks like he might have slotted up into second place there. Gert van den Berg already putting the pressure onto him, along with Vaughan Hills, our international Formula V driver here, coming all the way from the Netherlands. Joining us again for this round of the championship. 112 into the mix as well. Good start out of that 112 car of Marcel Bluchnout. He's fighting hard there with Yusuf Kotza, Sean van der Linde and Theo Vermaak as they head to the toe of the boot. Vermaak is on the outside of van der Linde as they go around that right-hander. He's going to try and hang on to that outside line. No, Vermaak loses out there. Van der Linde gets through. Looks like Bluchnout's gone as well, and Theo Vermaak's dropped back into the clutches of his association championship rival, Yusuf Kotza. The fight is on. It's a fight for two packs of cars. The front pack is led out by our poleman, Peter Hills. The second pack is led out by Sean van der Linde, with Bluchnout all over the back of him, looking to go into Incini 1 and find a way through. Vermaak comes back at him, bringing Kotza along for the ride as well. Just in the background, watch out for Carl Watt coming around the outside and finding a way past on Roy Douglas. So it's 4 cars for the lead. It's about 7 cars for 5th place. That's how awesome this stuff can get in Formula V. It really is amazing to see how these cars battle out so hard and get into each other's clutches. We've always said in commentary in the past, it's almost Moto 3 or 600cc superbike style racing that you get out of the Formula Vs. Kotza with a small mistake, drops back slightly behind Bluchnout into the clutches there of the return to the front of Brandon Hills. Brandon Hills didn't quite go according to plan. Rick Lareau's in the house. What's up, Rico? Joining us in the background there as he comes past our commentary booth after a good outing there in BMWs. Looks like he's heading up to have a little chat to the COC though about something, so hopefully that's all been sorted out. But this battle continues on track between Brandon Hills closing on Carl Watt. Looking for a way to try and get to that front pack. That's where he'd normally be with these two Hills boys, Van den Berg and Janssen. So Peter Hills has dropped behind Lionel Janssen. He's going to sit there and wait, I think, until a bit later in the race, as he did in race number 1. Looking for a chance now to not be in the lead on the last lap. That's what we need to be watching out for here in race 2. We saw it in race number 1 where they were all trying to get to the front end, and then the slipstream effect came into play. You don't want to be leading this race by the time the last race starts, because that slipstream effect is so good. You'll see it now. Watch as Peter Hills sets it up now. This will be a bit of a practice run on the move he wants to pull a bit later on. Lionel Janssen off the start line with a 55.6. 56 is out of all 3 cars behind him. But let's see whether or not he can use that slipstream effect. Peter Hills in the slipstream, pulls out, and along goes Gert van der Berg along for the ride as well, looking for a chance to try and capitalize on that. The slipstream works perfectly. Into turn number 9, and the change up for the lead again as Peter Hills gets back to the front. Lionel Janssen into Gert van der Berg's path. Van der Berg is looking on in his rearview mirrors as well, watching for the attack coming from Vaughan Hills. Theo Vermaak has got back up ahead of Sean van der Linde, who's now falling into the clutches possibly of Brandon Hills, who's made his way through nicely up into 7th place. Across the line they go again. No worries at all here for these guys in terms of that mid-pack battle. Here comes a bit of a maneuver in the background as well. Looks like there's a bit of a move on Marcel Bluchnout coming from CF de Toy. De Toy finds a way through there. 4th of the Mangaza racing cars. Just looking to try and close down on Carl Watt ahead of him. Gert van der Berg now through on Lionel Janssen. Janssen down to 3rd. Into the clutches of Vaughan Hills. Vaughan Hills, Peter Hills sandwiching that front end battle. Mangaza racing 1 and 4. It's the DOE Start My car in that 2nd spot, and then Bull Security in 3rd. Vermaak on his own. Getting away now from Sean van der Linde, trying to maintain that gap ahead of Sean van der Linde, but van der Linde has once again closed the gap down again. So Sean van der Linde and Theo Vermaak fighting hard here as they go towards Unchini 1. First to the right-handers to bring them onto that back straight away. Vermaak hanging on for now ahead of van der Linde. Van der Linde trying to close him down there. And then comes up onto that back straight away. Looking for the slipstream, but Vermaak doesn't give him an opportunity to get it. Brandon Hills is definitely closing that gap down. Oh, big look from van der Linde into the fast right. Not quite there. So, continued fight here for the lead. And at this stage, Hills leads out ahead of Janssen, pulling away ever so slightly. So, pulling away there ever so slightly is Lionel Janssen. Fighting continuing through here from DOE, Formula V, all the way down, even into the back markers. Little fight there between Clinton Kane and looks like Martin van Jaarsveld getting up close and personal as well. Jan Unicasa also having some fun and games of his own. But Peter Hills continues to lead things out at the front end. This is mid-pack, Carl Watt and Bluchnout. They come into what is turn 5 here, Coca-Cola corner. And as they come up onto the breakers for Unchini 1, Gert van der Berg very, very much in the mix there. And 3 cars basically split by less than half a second for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. Lionel Janssen maintaining a little bit of a margin over Gert van der Berg, but they're getting into each other and starting to fight between each other, which is allowing Peter Hills to get away. Van der Berg around the outside of Lionel Janssen. Actually got waved through there by Lionel Janssen. Putting his hand up and saying, no, you go ahead. You see if you can close that gap down on Peter Hills. It's exactly what Gert van der Berg has done, almost instantaneously. Under braking down into turn 10. Heel cop corner, double right-hander, now into the final corner. Amazing bit of race action here from these guys. They really are putting on a good show. Red flag. I saw a red flag on the timing monitor. I'm not quite sure why the red flag is out, but red flag waving It came up on the timing monitor just before they came across the line, and I didn't want to call it out until I actually saw a physical red flag on the sideline. So something must have gone wrong there. The red flag has definitely been waved. Red flag is being called. I'm not quite sure why. We're going to try and find out what happened on circuit. Red flag on circuit. Not quite sure what the issue is. Red flag scenario, basically we've got, what are we? Paul, I'm not quite sure because my timing monitor is not quite 100%, but I would say we're at about the halfway stage there. 4 of 8 completed, which means they'll go back 1. So there should still be enough time to have a restart of this one. Certainly not sure what's gone wrong here, unfortunately, with Formula V's. Hills, Janssen, Vandenberg and Hills were your top 4 for Mark and Van der Linde, Brandon Hills, Kotze, Carl Watt and Marcel Burknout. So they've only just completed 4 of 8, which is only halfway. That's not enough to complete the race or potentially call the race to be finished. After 4 of 8, they would have had to do 6 of 8 if they wanted to call the race at this stage. So could potentially be coming to the line to line up for a restart and maybe a 3-lap sprint. I don't see any issues around the track at this point in time. I'm looking for those yellow flags to be waving because that's where the incident would be, just to tell the drivers that that's the corner where something's gone wrong. It's red through turn 10 and into 11. Not quite sure what's gone down here, unfortunately. We haven't picked up on what the problem might be, but it must be a big one if there's a red flag being called. So a good possibility I'm hearing in my ears in the background, it's coming from Hielkop corner where the incident has taken place. Whoever's in the incident, we haven't worked out who that is just yet. So we're going to try and pick up on what the problem is as they've come to the line to take up their positions again. We'll also be able to see who's missing. It's definitely not from the front pack of cars that's missing because all of them have taken up their positions. It must have been in that mid-pack battle. That something's happened. Going to try and pick them up from our camera positions here at the Phakisa 200. See if we can find what the incident is. In. We're about to start racing again. Whatever the incident is, it has been sorted out, and we are racing down towards turn 1 with Hills yet again, getting the whole shot into turn 1. I'm not quite sure how many laps we're going to have in this one now, so we'll have to keep an eye out on the Phakisa marshals there to tell us how many laps they've got. And now as they head towards turn 2, the battle continues there between Gert Vandenberg and Lionel Janssen. Vaughan Hills behind that. Good start there from Sean van der Linde. He's got ahead and capitalised on that restart to get through there on Theo Vermaak. It's either 4 or 3 laps we can hear from my director in my ears, so possibilities here of just another half of this race to be sorted out. We did finish 4 of the 8 there. They would have gone back in terms of the red flag, so only when we 3 completed. which possibly means we've either got 3 or 4 laps to do in this one. We'll wait until they come across the line on the first pass. The timing screen says 5, but the timing screen has not been right the whole day. So we'll wait and see what the actual timing or the lap board says they passed that start-finish line. They're coming into Uncini 1 now, and it's Kotze fighting with Blicknote. Behind that, it is a lot of cars lining up there, led out by Roy Douglas at this point in time. Roy Douglas trying to stay with that Martini Racing machine, Martini Racing colours. 3x3 heading towards, 3 in a row, side by side, down into the fast right-hander, could usually end up in tears. And with Formula V's, you don't want to be locking up wheels into that section at that pace. Over 220 k's an hour in a Formula V as they go through that right-hander, that is for sure. And that was very good stuff there. Enough room given. Peter Hills hangs on. Janssen and Van der Berg ahead of Vaughan Hills. Theo Vermaak has got through there on Sean van der Linde. So here they come to the line. As they come across the line, just trying to work out how many laps we got as well there, Claudes, if we can. You can see them heading towards turn 1. And once again, there's some big action expected. So it's first 4 cars resuming their battle. Theo Vermaak leads out the 5th place battle and pulls away from Van der Linde, who's got Brandon Hills right on his tail. Brandon is definitely going to capitalise on that restart, having made up some ground from the back of the pack. Didn't quite go according to plan in race 1, but certainly looking like he could get up into a top 5 overall here. Vermaak off track, out of shape, rides right across the nose of Sean van der Linde, who saw him coming. Van der Linde went defensive and went to take evasive action. He's got through. Brandon Hills tried to do the same thing, but Vermaak was able to catch and just stay ahead of Brandon Hills. So some massive action in Formula V's here today. Brandon Hills now trying to dive on the inside of Vermaak as they go into turn 5 at the Coke Bottle. Not able to get through there yet. Kotze behind that. Then you got Blicknote and Roy Douglas. Fight is on here big time for Formula V's. No holds barred here, that is for sure. As always in Formula V's, the race action has been pretty spectacular. As they go onto that right-hander, the second of the Uncinis onto the back straight away. Here comes Lendl Janssen trying to use the slipstream there on Peter Hills. This is where they need to start taking into account what's going to be happening with race strategy. You do not want to be leading this race onto the last lap because that slipstream effect is vital. And it is working so well down that back straight away. So if you are the lead car, there is a very good possibility that you will be overtaken using the slipstream. Peter Hills is trying to set that up. Gert van der Berg is going to try and get a double slipstream out of Hills. Maybe spoil the day there for both himself. Yellow flags into turn 1. Something's gone wrong at turn 1 as well. You can see a stationary yellow flag being put out there into turn 1. So no overtaking. Hills is going to have a look, but he wasn't able to do it. There's a car stricken on the sideline. That's Yanni Phakisa. Yanni Phakisa has gone off track and into the tyre barrier by the looks of things. That could be in a bit of a dangerous position there. We can look at where that car's parked. Let's see whether or not the COC agrees with me. But here they go into turn 3. Fight is on here for the lead. 4 cars in it. Vaughan and Peter Hills from Mangaza Racing. DOE and Start My Cars, Gert van der Berg. And it's the Bull security car that leads things out at this point. Brilliant race action as always. And more of the same coming here for these last couple of laps between Formula V's top guns. As they head now into turn 5. Amazing race action that's been coming out of today's Phakisa Freeway 200. And Formula V have certainly been at the top end of that class, that is for sure. They come into Uncini 1 and a little bit of a gap that's opened up. That might be the gap that Lendl Janssen needs. Peter Hills has got to be a lot closer to Lendl Janssen if he wants to get the slipstream, although he gets great drive out of Uncini too. Now gets into the slipstream, pulls out of that slipstream and looks to go through the fast right-hander in the lead and gets there. So that is perfectly done there from Peter Hills' point of view. But remember, they've still got a lap to go here according to my timing monitor, so we should still have one more lap to go. Does he want to be at the lead of the race on this last lap? We'll have to wait and see if he's able to pull a bit of a gap. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve that we don't know about. Maybe he can get just enough margin there so that Lendl Janssen and Gert van der Berg cannot use the slipstream onto the back straight. I assume that's one to go. As they head down into turn 1, it's Hills from Lendl Janssen. Was that a move there coming from Vaughan Hills? It was on Gert van der Berg, trying to force the DOE Start My Car machine into 4th place. 2 to go by the sounds of it. So 2 laps to go here. So this is why Peter Hills is now at the front. He might give Lennell Janssen a chance to use the slipstream and get to the lead so that he starts the final lap in 2nd. That's where he needs to be. These guys are having an amazing run. They really are going well here for the first 4. They've pulled slightly away, and it's Brandon Hills they're pulling away from now, who's up into what is 5th place on track. He's ahead of Theo Vermaak and Sean van der Linde.
That's the red flag.
Wow, that's a huge moment there. That's Johnny Geis's car parked on the sideline. But that was I'm not quite sure if that was the red flag scenario or that was just an incident after the red flag, because I saw Geis start the race. Whether or not that was happening afterwards, we'll have to wait and see. So that's where we see the stricken car of Johnny Geis parked on the sideline. Here we go. Lennell Janssen into the slipstream. Exactly what Peter Hills would like him to do, but he goes defensive. Hills is not going to let him try and get that slipstream effect, and he does it to perfection. So he goes defensive to block the slipstream and is able to do it into the fast right, down at turn 9. Turn 10 is heel cup corner, double right-hander, the hairpin at the end of the circuit. Penultimate corner through for the first 4 cars, and there is 1 corner and 1 lap to go. Here they come into the final corner to start the last lap. The gap's opened up there between 2 and 3. That might be enough there for Lennell Janssen to have a go at Peter Hills. Here comes Vaughan Hills on Gert van der Berg into turn 1 and secures it.
That was under yellow.
Perfectly done, but he's under yellow though, so he might have to give that one back. The yellow flag, yeah, and he gives it back. I don't think he gave it back willingly, but I think he may have realised, as we did going into turn 1, there is a yellow flag because of the stricken car on the outside there of Johnny Geisa. So here comes the opportunity for Lennell Janssen to pounce. Peter Hills went defensive on the last lap and kept him out. Can he do it again? He has to do it again. If that slipstream gets engaged. Oh, we got a spinner into the second last corner. 777 out of shape. Definitely not what Clinton Kane wanted. He gets going again, but he spun out there and put a bit of debris onto the track. That might help out in the long run for these 4. Here they come. Do the little flick towards Uncini 1. Right, left flick. In the day here at MotoGP level, saw the likes of the top contenders sliding into Uncini 1. Gary McCoy was one that comes to mind right now, the slide king, getting into Uncini 1 with that back end stepped out, coming from 16th place on the grid for the win. Defensive driving from the pole position man to try and take the win here. Can he hang on to that inside line? Lennell Janssen's going to try around the outside. This could be very close between these 2. Janssen might have to back out. There's not enough grip out there. Not at this stage of the race, and not with the tyres that they're on right now. Those Bridgestones are crying out no more. They are really battling for grip at the moment as they go into the final corner at Geelkop. Hills has done this. He's going to maintain his lead in the championship with another victory here in Formula V's, and he's going to do that in style ahead of Lennell Janssen. Gert van der Berg will keep out Vaughan Hills, and the top 4 come to the line to finish it up. Incredible stuff there from Formula V again here at the live coverage of the Phakisa 200 round. And look at that, 0.9 of a second between the first 4. Chef de Toy and Theo Vermaak fighting for honours here in the closing stages. Brandon Hills and Sean van der Linde have gone through, but looks like it's going to be Vermaak just to hang on. He does. Behind that, it's Bluchnout. So that is top class action once again from Formula V. They never fail to deliver. DOE Formula V wrap things up here for our sprint races for the day. And up next, oh, a spinner. It looks like it might be Martin van Jaarsveld. Yes, it is. The rookie has spun out into the last corner, or the penultimate corner, I should say. And I think he might have been caught out by some of the debris that Clinton Kane brought onto the circuit. Here comes Kane. Going to go around outside of him, and he will get to the end. But it looks like van Jaarsveld might have stalled that car. So there we have all our sprint races done for the day. Coming up in about 10 minutes time, we're going to start the proceedings for the Phakisa 200, for Car Care Clinic's Triple Ones, the GT Sports and Saloons, and for the Car Care Clinic Super Hatch categories here at Phakisa Freeway. We'll be back shortly with action, but there is our unofficial results of the DOE Formula V's. Hills from Janssen and Van der Berg, which means that it'll stay the same in terms of the championship. Peter Hills maintains his lead overall in the championship for Formula V's 2022.